And here we have Rachel Meghan Markle parading on a yacht since 2014.
Retire, bitch!
And I know some people are disappointed by the name Archie, but there's one person who's super excited, the Queen. Yeah, because for the last 9 months, she's been like, please don't be...
The president also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No! I refuse! I'm sick!
Wow. Who had Meghan Markle on their random Trump insults bingo card? Anyone? If you're keeping track, Meghan Markle's got beef with the Queen of England and the President of the United States.
It looked like a normal Saturday night until everything changed. Colin Jost stepped in front of the SNL camera and delivered a joke that stopped people mid-scroll. He quipped that part of the president's new UK trade deal involved sending Meghan Markle back. The audience froze for a second, then the room absolutely lost it. The follow-up hit even harder, but only if she deletes her entire Instagram again. Bigger laugh, louder reaction, more chaos. Within minutes, clips were flying everywhere. Social media caught fire. Headlines stacked up fast, and people could not stop replaying that moment. Now, according to reports and online chatter, Meghan was not exactly happy about the spotlight, and honestly, it's not hard to see why.
Meg does her little phony like, I'm so busy just doing like so much wealthy stuff. I have the show, the podcast, I'm a duchess, I have all this wealth. It's just so many busy things as a wealthy person.
So busy?
It was so fake. I was like, oh.
If you had lunch with Meghan Markle, you'd be stunned at how dumb she was. Not because she's black, because I wouldn't think she was black if I looked at her, because she's an actress who was on the show Suits.
This wasn't your average celebrity roast punchline. For a lot of viewers, it hit different. It wasn't about politics or tired royal drama. It went straight for her public image, the carefully built brand she spent years crafting. That's exactly why it landed so hard. Some viewers saw it as a signal, a sign that mainstream comedy was shifting, that comedians were now openly comfortable poking fun at someone who used to be completely off limits. Before that conversation could even breathe, though, another wave hit the internet hard. Just days after the SNL moment, a set of grainy but suspiciously polished yacht photos started spreading like wildfire online. Luxury vessel, European coastline, bright sunshine, designer sunglasses, champagne, private staff hovering in the background, and right at the center, a woman whose appearance sent the internet into full detective mode. Reddit went in. TikTok dissected every frame. Ex-users compared timestamps, accessories, facial features, anything they could grab onto. Comments poured in fast. That's Meghan.
It's a great series about a rich, white, dysfunctional family, all scheming. Oh no, that's The Crown. That's The Crown. I'm sorry. How great was Imelda Staunton in The Crown? Wasn't she amazing? Her portrayal of the Queen was so good. Prince Harry called her for it and asked her for my...
It was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
No question. The photos spread quickly because they looked too clean, too well framed to be random, candid shots. Something about them felt intentional, and that made people even more suspicious. What really kept the conversation alive was the timing. These images surfaced right as Meghan was actively pushing new projects, her rosé, wine brand, media ventures, the whole package. Instead of attention landing on those projects, it got swallowed whole by the rumors swirling around those photos. And for many commentators, the real story wasn't even the images themselves. It was the sharp contrast people felt they represented. For years, Meghan has presented a carefully polished public image, and people noticed social media posts, wellness content, charitable projects, and lifestyle branding all worked together to build something very specific. She wasn't just selling products. She was selling a whole narrative: personal growth, positivity, living life on your own terms. That's exactly why those yacht photos hit so differently. For critics online, the debate was never really about the pictures themselves. It was about whether the image Meghan had spent years projecting actually matched what people thought they were now seeing, and that question was just getting started.
Marrying the monarchy, what did you think it was going to be like?
Well, I didn't do any research
You
about what
didn't
that
do
would
any
mean.
research.
No. I've never looked up my husband online.
What? Let me introduce you to this thing called Google, okay? Over there, I think it's called Lori. It's full of useful information. For instance, turns out your husband knew Princess Di. That might have been a hint that this was going to be a rough gig. So while you're Googling, you might want to try the combo Andrew, Island, and Epps.
According to online investigators, the photos were allegedly taken during her Suits era, a time when she was building her public identity around ambition, advocacy, and professional hustle. But for critics, the when didn't matter as much as the what. Luxury yachts, wealthy guests, suspiciously polished shots that looked more like magazine spreads than private vacation snaps, that's what had people talking. Whether those assumptions were fair or not, the conversation spread fast and wide. See, this wasn't just gossip, it was about perception. Public figures spend years constructing an image, and the second new information surfaces, people hold it up against everything they thought they knew. Every interview, every social media post, every charitable appearance had reinforced Meghan's carefully managed identity, but these photos were never part of that presentation. Comment sections exploded with theories, interpretations, and clashing opinions. To critics, the photos raised serious questions. To supporters, they proved absolutely nothing. Then, an old rumor crawled back out of the shadows.
Read that Harry and Meghan met on a blind date. Here's how they planned it. Meghan was like, I'll be wearing a blue shirt. And Harry was like, I'll be Prince Harry.
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
The so-called yacht girl speculation had been floating around forums, gossip threads, and anonymous posts for years. After Meghan married Prince Harry, most people brushed it off as baseless noise. But the moment those photos started circulating again, it came roaring back with force. People who had ignored it before started digging through old posts. Archived articles resurfaced. Podcasts broke down timelines. The algorithm pushed every related thread straight back into people's feeds. Commentators started connecting names, events, and social circles from years back. Others pointed to old entries from the TIG, referencing luxury travel and exclusive experiences. Critics said those details deserved a harder look. Supporters said people were reaching. Either way, the internet kept digging. And then Meghan did something that surprised everyone, she said. Absolutely nothing. No statement, no Instagram post, no spokesperson stepping in to clean it up. In today's media environment, that kind of silence doesn't go unnoticed, it gets louder. Most public figures follow a clear playbook when controversy hits. Deny it, address it, get ahead of it. Meghan did none of that, and, for many online commentators, that silence only poured more fuel into an already burning conversation.
Oh my God, I can't even. These two, Meghan and Harry, are the worst.
Why is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual? And most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince Andrew.
And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
You know, I mean, she used to be on Deal or No
infiltrated?
Deal. Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I brought Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my Deal or No Deal celebrity golf tournament. She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my celebrities.
Even some of Meghan's most vocal supporters went quiet. Lifestyle creators, royal commentators, and podcast hosts who had defended her before suddenly found themselves facing a topic that was way harder to spin. Because here's the real question critics kept asking: how do you line up luxury yacht rumors with a public image built on advocacy, humanitarian work, and overcoming the odds? That clash became the engine driving countless videos, posts, and threads across every major platform. And because there was zero public response, the speculation just kept multiplying. To many online observers, the silence itself became the story. Some called it a calculated move. Others said it meant nothing. But either way, people would not stop talking about it. Then the internet did exactly what it always does. Memes flooded every feed.
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe it?
Now for the tricky part. Place in microwave. What is microwave? I don't think we have any of that. Harry? Do we have any microwave?
It's a microwave, silly.
Don't talk to me like that, you bitch! I'm a fucking duchess! Ugh! Ugh!
Reaction videos stacked up, short clips spread across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube fast. The conversation stopped being about facts and became entirely about perception, with thousands of creators throwing their own spin on the fire. And according to various online reports, things behind the scenes were anything but calm. Some commentators claimed Meghan's team was closely watching the backlash and scrambling to redirect attention toward upcoming projects and future media plans. Those claims were never verified, but they added yet another layer to an already packed story. By this point, the online narrative had taken on a life of its own. Colin Jost's joke had done more than get a laugh. It signaled to the internet that Meghan had officially become a go-to target for viral humor and late-night comedy. Once that door opens, no PR strategy moves fast enough to close it. Old interviews got pulled back up. Motivational quotes got reinterpreted with a whole new edge.
He knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress actress. Meghan Markle was also a close associate of Jeffrey. Pictures are there. We can all see them. Why isn't anybody questioning this?
Queen summoned everyone to a private meeting. Everyone attended except Meghan Markle. And I'll be honest, I don't blame Meghan for not going, because nothing good happens when white people invite you to the countryside. We've all seen Get Out. We know how this shit ends.
Supporters pushed back hard. Critics doubled down harder. Then, another rumor started moving through entertainment circles that industry insiders and studios were keeping a close eye on the backlash, with whispers that certain opportunities could quietly disappear if the controversy kept dominating headlines. Some reports even suggested certain brands were pulling back, getting cautious. The issue, according to commentators, wasn't whether Meghan was still marketable. It was the growing fear that any new controversy would instantly swallow whatever story she was trying to tell. And in an industry where image drives major business decisions, that kind of unpredictability makes companies very nervous. Then the spotlight shifted, and Harry got pulled into it too. What started as a controversy centered on Meghan suddenly had Harry appearing in the same thumbnails, the same reaction videos, the same heated comment sections. The whole Sussex brand was now in the crosshairs. Some royal watchers claimed Harry seemed unusually quiet. Others pointed to fewer public appearances and less visible engagement with the ongoing media storm. One rumored quote even started making the rounds online. "He looks like a man realizing the fairy tale came with fine print," whether that was real or not.
Thea's announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits, which will be set in Los Angeles. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
There was a sex tape about her.
And I saw it. And in the tape, she's performing a sex act on him.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
It spread like fire because it matched exactly what critics were already saying. And that narrative was only getting sharper by the day. Some claimed Meghan stayed locked in on managing her public image, while others speculated Harry was quietly stepping back from the spotlight. None of it was confirmed, but that didn't slow anyone down. Once the internet starts speculating, it rarely pumps the brakes. What started as a debate over old photos had grown into something way bigger. For many critics, this was no longer about yachts, vacations, or rumors from years back. This was about image, full stop. Meghan's rise from actress to global public figure is one of the most talked about transformations in modern celebrity culture. She built a brand tied to advocacy, lifestyle content, philanthropy, and personal empowerment. Every interview, every appearance, every project stacked on top of each other to build that identity. But critics argued those resurfaced photos cracked open questions they believed had never really been answered. To those critics, Colin Jost's joke wasn't the spark, it was just the moment the fire broke into the mainstream.
Nasty, and says he feels sorry for Prince Harry because his wife is a lot to deal with.
And then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
Today's Suits actress Meghan Markle married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
Expose her relationship with Prince Andrew, her sexual relationship with Prince Andrew.
I've already settled it for myself, so flattery and criticism go down the same drain, and I'm quite free.
Once old images and rumors re-entered the conversation, people started digging through timelines, revisiting old stories, and holding past narratives up against the present. Supporters called it unfair. Critics called it overdue. They argued the real debate had nothing to do with luxury vacations or celebrity social circles. It was about public image, reputation management, and who actually controls the story people walk away believing. And one question kept surfacing no matter where the conversation went. Was this controversy really about the photos, or was it always about the image carefully built around them? See, for years, Meghan's public presence was constructed through polished interviews, curated social media, lifestyle branding, and strategic appearances. Every move reinforced a very specific narrative. But when old stories resurface unexpectedly, that carefully managed image gets placed under a very harsh light, and that's where things get uncomfortable fast. Once the internet locks onto something, it takes on a life of its own. Memes multiply, reaction videos stack up endlessly, comment sections stay packed with opinions and theories long after the original headlines disappear, and whether it's fair or not, online narratives are incredibly hard to walk back.
The woman who destroyed her in-laws' family, whose own family doesn't like her, whose the in-laws obviously don't like her, the public doesn't like her, she's stuck because she was an actress who became a real princess, who wants to be an actress again, but has to continue to be to pretend to be a real princess.
We again highlight the mucky murkiness and mendacious manner of this alleged yacht girl.
Why aren't they pushing this nuclear button and just let the world know about Meghan Markle?
Seeing how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
It suggested that the then Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew.
Now critics are looking at Meghan through a completely different lens, and it's getting intense. Instead of focusing on the image she spent years carefully presenting, online commentators are going back to the beginning, re-examining her rise to fame, her public persona, and every single choice that helped build her brand from the ground up. Some still see an inspiring success story. Others see a highly calculated approach to celebrity and public influence, and that gap between those two views is exactly what's keeping this controversy alive and breathing. For many critics, the real conversation was never about old photos or internet rumors. It's about reputation, image management, and the space that can exist between the story a public figure tells and the way people choose to read it years later. Because once old stories resurface and public perception starts shifting, the conversation moves way beyond whatever originally sparked it.
It's Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest-selling non-fiction book of all time. The story of Prince Harold and his frozen yogurt slinger is so popular, they're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis.
Girl past, set to be exposed in a new documentary that's finally going to air next month. Let's put it this way. I smell a scared little reminder. Prince Harry married a talentless Soho house, alleged, named Meghan Markle.
And right now, that is exactly what's playing out in real time. Meghan built her entire public identity around being misunderstood by critics. But now those same critics are arguing that the public is finally getting a different version of the story, one she didn't write. And that might be the most unexpected twist in this entire saga. Let's talk about how we actually got here, because this didn't happen overnight. Meghan's journey into the public eye started long before the royal family, long before the Netflix deals, and long before the Sussex brand became a global conversation. She was an actress building her career one role at a time, using social media and lifestyle content in ways that were genuinely ahead of the curve. The TIG wasn't just a blog, it was a personal brand engine running years before most celebrities even understood what personal branding meant. She talked about travel, food.
The late Virginia Roberts wanted to call Meghan Markle as a witness, and she said it was exactly because Meghan Markle was a close past associate of Prince Andrew and would have seen or participated or been around whatever he was doing. Why isn't the press calling this out?
Harry starts describing this one date with Meghan as the night, let me quote you here, "Me and M pulled the pin on a fun grenade. I actually started rooting for Prince Andrew."
Wellness and ambition in a way that felt fresh and relatable, and people connected with it. But here's where it gets complicated. The very same tools she used to build that connection, the curated posts, the carefully chosen interviews, the selective storytelling, are now the exact things critics are holding up under a magnifying glass. Every past appearance is being revisited. Every old quote is being reread with fresh eyes. And the internet, which never truly forgets anything, is doing what it does best, digging. What's interesting is how the criticism has evolved. In the early days of Meghan's time in the royal spotlight, the pushback was largely dismissed as rooted in bias and unfair media treatment. And, to be fair, many credible voices made strong arguments supporting that view. There were legitimate conversations happening about double standards, media coverage, and the way certain stories were framed. Supporters rallied hard.
I don't think they will change because I don't think they have the capacity to, but they obviously should.
Do you think your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry?
The answer is yes. I mean, every single interview, every single picture, every place they go, Meghan grabs him. Meghan controls him. Meghan tells him no. Meghan stands in front of him. She controls every single situation like she is the star.
And for a while, that narrative held strong. But somewhere along the way, the conversation started shifting. Slowly at first, then all at once. Critics who had been drowned out before started finding larger audiences. Online communities that had been discussing alternative versions of events for years suddenly found their content being pushed to wider feeds. The algorithm changed. The audience changed, and the tone of the public conversation changed with it. Now, the debate isn't just happening in niche forums or anonymous comment sections. It's playing out on mainstream platforms, in late-night comedy scripts, in viral TikTok videos, and in the comment sections of major entertainment outlets. The scale of the conversation is completely different from anything that came before, and that scale matters.
Now, I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures, so I found the museum employee who's temporarily storing them. Oliver, you have generously offered to keep the wax figures of Harry and Meghan safe.
Yeah, that's correct. And if I may, I would just like to say that I'm definitely not using the wax figures for sex. They are in a loving home, and I treat them better than the museum ever did. They didn't appreciate Meghan's soft hands or Harry's supple lips.
Buckingham Palace are still covering for them. And what will it take? Will it take something to be exposed that is so terrible that they will actually talk about it?
What do Americans really think of Harry and Meghan? We despise that.
Because when a narrative reaches a certain size, it starts to shape how everything else gets interpreted. Old interviews get clipped and reposted with new context. Motivational quotes that once felt empowering get reread as calculated messaging. Moments that were once celebrated get reframed as examples of strategic image building. Whether that reframing is fair or not is genuinely debatable, but what's not debatable is that it's happening loudly and constantly. And the Harry factor cannot be ignored here either, because Harry's presence in this story adds a whole different dimension that people keep circling back to. He walked away from one of the most powerful institutions in the world. He gave up titles, relationships, and an entire way of life. That is not a small thing, and his supporters never let anyone forget it. But critics have started asking harder questions about what that sacrifice has actually produced, and whether the life that was built on the other side of that decision matches the promise of what it was supposed to be. Some online commentators have described Harry as looking increasingly isolated from the story being told around him. Others point to the fact that his own projects and public appearances have received far less attention than the controversies surrounding the Sussex brand as a whole. Whether that's by design or circumstance has become its own separate debate, but it keeps feeding into the larger conversation about where things are actually headed.
Said, let us have an end to this debate about what makes a good man at B1.
There you go.
You can use that.
Good knowledge.
You can use that.
That's the part. That's the part
we're editing out of this interview. Boy, right there. All right.
Very
unlike
similar
what?
to this experience.
Unlike what?
That's right. You carry on. You were doing great. You were doing great.
No, you're doing great.
The royal family, right, if you can imagine, they're like our Kardashian. Prince Harry is very much our Kanye. He occasionally dresses as a Nazi, and he f***ed up.
They started off and they're making interesting points about racism and misogyny. Then they start calling each other H&M, and I just thought, oh, do f*** off.
One thing that keeps coming up across comment sections, reaction videos, and podcast discussions is the question of legacy. What does Meghan's public story actually look like when you step back and take in the full picture? Because right now, depending on who you ask, you get two completely opposite answers, and both sides argue their version with total conviction. For supporters, the story is still one of resilience. A woman who navigated an incredibly difficult public environment, faced relentless scrutiny, and still managed to build a career, a family, and a platform on her own terms. That version of the story is real, documented, and defended passionately by people who watched it unfold in real time. For critics, the story looks very different. They see a carefully engineered public image that prioritized perception over transparency. They point to the gap between the values publicly promoted and the lifestyle choices critics claim contradict them.
Prince Andrew's confiding to friends about the not-so-secret relationship with him and Meghan Markle, and this is why Prince Harry wants to end the marriage and is so disgusted he can barely touch his woman.
Since you like that, here's another.
Another big revelation was that Meghan said that she and Harry actually got married 3 days before the royal wedding. Great, now I feel like a fool for waking up at 5 a.m. to watch two married people get married.
They argue that the silence in response to controversy isn't dignity, it's strategy. And they believe the public is finally starting to ask the questions that should have been asked much earlier. What makes this moment genuinely fascinating is that both versions of the story are competing for dominance at exactly the same time, and neither side is backing down. Social media algorithms reward strong opinions and emotional reactions, which means both the defenders and the critics are getting amplified simultaneously. Every viral defense generates an equally viral critique. Every supportive post triggers a wave of pushback. The conversation feeds itself endlessly. And then there's the brand question, because at the end of the day, Meghan has built something that functions as a business. The lifestyle content, the media deals, the wine brand, the podcast ventures, these aren't just personal projects. They're commercial products that depend on public goodwill and brand perception to succeed.
They were complaining that to pay for their own security. They were not happy about that. Yeah, they were very worried about their safety, which I get that aspect of things after 6 episodes. I wanted to attack them.
Electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
Harry found out about it and Harry's disgusted. I don't even think he found out about it. I think he finally accepted what he didn't want to accept before. What, is she possessed? She was a normal speaking girl.
And when brand perception gets complicated, the business side of things gets complicated too. This is something PR professionals and brand strategists have been watching closely, because what's happening with the Sussex brand right now is genuinely unusual. Normally, when a public figure faces sustained controversy, the options are clear: address it directly, pivot away from it strategically, or wait for it to fade. But this particular controversy keeps getting new oxygen from unexpected places. A late-night joke, a set of old photos, a rumor that refuses to stay buried.
Harry says, how do you explain to someone who just started dating that they have to curtsy to your own grandmother?
How do you explain that you bow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American? Like, that's weird.
Maybe just tell her that your grandmother is the queen. And you're in the royal family.
Prince Harry really did that. At a movie premiere last year, he asked the CEO of Disney to hook his wife up with voiceovers. You gotta admit, the monarchy has fallen off, right? No, because back in the day, it used to be like, if you marry my daughter, I'll give you Burgundy. Now it's like, my wife actually does a pretty good Timon. You should hear her. Come on, baby, do the thing. Hakuna Matata, do the thing.
Each new element resets the clock and pulls the conversation back in. That cycle is what makes the silence so striking to so many observers. In a media environment where the story never fully dies, choosing not to engage is itself a choice that people analyze and debate endlessly. Some see it as graceful, some see it as tone-deaf, some see it as the only rational option available. But nobody is ignoring it, and that's the point. What happens next is genuinely unclear. Public perception can shift in either direction depending on what moves are made.
Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism.
They want it both ways. You know, you can't be, these people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention, and then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention. You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous.
And I will not bend the knee and just go along with the nonsense. That's what's so annoying about them. The most of all, they insist that you go along with their nonsense and their insanity and their fragility.
What stories surface and how the internet decides to frame the next chapter. History is full of public figures who survived major controversy and rebuilt their image successfully. It's also full of examples where the narrative calcified into something impossible to reverse. For Meghan, the stakes feel particularly high because so much of her public identity was built on authenticity and connection. The blog, the wellness content, the personal storytelling, all of it was designed to make people feel like they knew her, like they were getting something real.
She is an absolute user of the media. She uses every conceivable way to try and play the victim and score points.
Why is Meghan Markle still being protected? Andrew's ready to leak the entire thing along with Sarah Ferguson because Fergie allegedly reached out to Meghan Markle for help now that they've lost the titles. But Meghan Markle, being the narcissist psycho that she is, that she discards people, she discards relationships, she doesn't understand the principle that you should never burn bridges.
When that sense of authenticity gets questioned, the fallout tends to hit harder than it would for a celebrity whose brand was never built on personal connection in the first place. Critics believe the questions being asked right now are the most important ones yet. Not about rumors, not about old photos, not about yacht speculation, but about the distance between the story that was told and the story that may actually be true. For supporters, those questions are rooted in unfairness and bias. But for critics, they represent a conversation that is long overdue. And right now, the internet is having that conversation at full volume with no signs of slowing down. The controversy that started with a late-night punchline has turned into something that touches on authenticity, image, legacy, and the way public figures construct the stories the world gets to see. That's a much bigger conversation than anyone expected when Colin Jost first delivered that joke on a Saturday night.
What is the number one question that mystifies scientists? Number one question.
Mystifies scientists. Is there life on another planet?
Oh, no. Why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
Another bag.
That confuses people.
This, we're just going to put into a different bag.
Last known girlfriend. She is on record saying that the only times she flew on a plane, went on a yacht, or whatever, was with her boyfriend, Jeffrey. Because Meghan Markle, apparently her goal was to snatch Prince Andrew. But of course, at the time, there was no way she was going to get through Sarah Ferguson.
And that might be the most revealing thing about this entire situation. Sometimes a single moment, a joke, a photo, a rumor lands at exactly the right time to crack something open that was already under pressure. And once that crack appears, the internet finds every edge it can reach. So where does this all land? The conversation is still moving, the debate is still loud, and the story is still being written in real time across comment sections, reaction videos, podcast episodes, and social media threads that show absolutely no signs of stopping.
All right, I do blame Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, stain of humanity. Yes, Meghan, and I hope you're watching right now. I hope you're watching, Meghan, because you are the stain of humanity.
She has to blame her own choices, her own preferences, and blame it on others because she doesn't have the balls to, or the ovaries to admit that that's how she likes it. Had they had these standards like 40 years ago, Meghan Markle would have not been anywhere near anybody. She wouldn't have been allowed anywhere near the royals. But because of what the state that the royal family is in, she was able to sneak in her way.
The 60 Minutes interview was a great chance to hear Harry and Meghan's story in case you missed their 2-hour sit-down with Oprah or their 6-part Netflix documentary.
Whatever comes next, one thing is clear: this controversy has permanently shifted how a significant portion of the public views the Sussex story, and that shift is not something that gets easily reversed. If this had you locked in from start to finish, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps more than you know. Subscribe so you never miss when we drop the next one, because trust us, there's always a next one. Share this with someone who needs to see it, and drop your hottest take in the comments below. We read them all. We'll see you in the next one.